Lucas and I had agreed to obtain our marriage license, but I waited until 4 p.m., and he did not appear. Upon opening Facebook, I encountered a public announcement vlog featuring him and his childhood friend Lena, captioned "The future holds promise." The video showcased Lucas's romantic proposal ceremony and a joyful scene of the two holding their marriage certificate. At the Civil Affairs Bureau, newlyweds were distributing wedding candies. When it was my turn, a woman curiously asked, "Hey, sister, where's your boyfriend?" "My candies come in pairs." Sitting on a chair in the hall, I observed couples passing by, clutching my phone, feeling both pitiable and pathetic as tears uncontrollably streamed down. With a bitter smile, I said, "He got the license with someone else," as my phone screen, still illuminated, replayed Lucas's proposal, freezing the frame and piercing my heart once more. Observing the stunned expressions of the newlyweds before me, I could only depart in despair, fearing my grief would overwhelm me in front of strangers. Lucas proposed to me 2 weeks prior, on my birthday, kneeling on one knee amidst a cheering crowd at the peak of the celebration, presenting an engagement ring. He declared me the love of his life, the one he wished to grow old with, moving me to tears of joy, and I accepted on the spot. Yet now, viewing this update on my phone, I felt like a clown. Unable to resist, I reopened the video and scrutinized it. No matter how I looked, the man beaming with happiness was the one I knew best, and for the first time, his smile repulsed me. Lucas and I began as high school classmates, growing closer in college and sharing nearly a decade together. Every moment, our laughter, arguments, and memories, remained vividly etched in my mind. Within his social circle, I was acknowledged as his partner, preparing diverse meals for him daily and gifting him on every occasion, big or small. Even last night, after work, he embraced me, eyes brimming with affection, saying, "Wife, wife, after calling you that for so long, you're finally my real wife." Yet overnight, I became the world's greatest fool. How could someone change so drastically? Did he have some hidden struggle? In a sudden panic, I took a taxi home. While searching for my keys, I overheard him conversing with his friend Peter inside. "Lucas, are you insane? Didn't you and Chloe announce you'd get the license today? What are you doing now?" Lucas's voice rose, tinged with emotion. "What could I do? Lena's bipolar disorder is severe. She said she just wants a home, and I'm her only hope. Now she has only me. I can't abandon her at such a critical time. You know I've always loved her." His voice grew increasingly agitated, yet the source of his turmoil wasn't me but his childhood friend. Stunned, I wondered, he always loved her, so what am I? "What nonsense are you spouting? You're truly mad." Peter, unable to comprehend his actions, was visibly angered by his absurd reasoning. "Even if Lena is ill, you could have discussed it with Chloe first before deciding. How could you marry someone else without a word? What about Chloe's feelings?" Lucas retorted in a tone implying misunderstanding. "You don't get how urgent it was. If Lena didn't get a proposal, she'd have jumped immediately. How could I have time to consult Chloe?" Thus, when Lena threatened her life, he chose marriage over calling the police. How absurd. My heart twisted in pain, nearly collapsing as I leaned against the door, gasping for air. "Then what about Chloe? We're all friends. We've watched you two for 10 years. How could you do this to her?" Peter furiously condemned Lucas's behavior. After a brief hesitation, Lucas said, "She'll understand me. For now, we'll wait until Lena's condition stabilizes. Then I'll discuss divorce once she's no longer suicidal. It won't take long, a year at most. Chloe and I have been together a decade, she won't mind." Peter laughed in exasperation at this. "Chloe is understanding. She loves me so much, she'll surely comprehend and won't leave me," he said, prompting me to lower my hand from the door, losing the will to listen further. Why should he assume I'd accept this? Leaving downstairs, I wandered aimlessly, as memories of Lucas and me over the years replayed vividly in my mind. In the classroom, he confessed to me, face flushed. After exams, we strolled by the sea, sharing dreams of our future. Post-graduation, I cooked for his birthday, and he wept, vowing to cherish me, and when he kissed me tenderly, promising never to leave. Yet this man, whom I loved wholeheartedly and planned to grow old with, betrayed me brutally on the day we were to get our license. The weather shifted unpredictably, mirroring human promises. Thunder rumbled as pedestrians hurried for shelter, but my steps felt rusted, and even drenched by rain, I drifted slowly along the road. A screech of brakes and splashing water startled me as a car halted beside me. Lucas emerged, hastily pulling me inside. He gently wiped my hair with a towel, his demeanor casual as if nothing had happened, saying, "Honey, why didn't you answer? I was frantic not reaching you." His repeated wife calls nauseated me. I snapped, "Get lost. Stop calling me that, your wife is Lena, not me, open your eyes," shaking off his hand and exiting the car. The door remained open, his car stationary in the rain. It was the first time in our decade-long relationship I'd cursed at him. I dashed through the rain in agony, directionless. Soon, Lucas caught up, umbrella in hand, grabbing my wrist from behind and pulling me into his embrace. "Honey, hear me out, I had no choice," he pleaded. "Please don't do this, give me another chance, let's go home and talk, it's pouring, let's go home first, okay?" His familiar laundry scent lingered, his words the usual sweet talk, yet, seeing his rain-soaked, disheveled state, an indescribable revulsion surged within me. A rush of blood overwhelmed me, my vision darkened, and I fainted, likely from not eating all day, compounded by emotional turmoil and the rain. Awakening again, I found myself in a hospital, my soaked clothes clung uncomfortably, and my joints ached intensely. I likely had a fever. Lucas sat beside me, holding my hand with a concerned expression, saying, "Honey, you're finally awake, you nearly scared me to death earlier." While unconscious, I dreamt we successfully got our license that day. I wore the wedding dress I'd designed and sewn, arm in arm with him, entering a hall to sacred bells, but dreams remain dreams. "I'm sorry, I've mentioned Lena before," he said. "We were together since childhood, only separating in high school when she moved away. Though we've kept in touch sporadically, believe me, in the 10 years with you, my heart was yours alone. Recently, she found me, her hands covered in cuts, saying she'd longed for a home with me all these years and would die if denied." His usually captivating eyes reddened as he spoke. "I couldn't just watch her die, could I? But honey, trust me, once she's healed, I'll divorce her immediately, it won't take long, believe me." "And if she never recovers?" I gazed at Lucas coldly. He faltered as his phone rang, his expression shifted instantly, glancing at me before answering. "Honey, I'm a bit busy now, I'll come home to you after, okay? Take your medicine, and I'll bring your favorite tiramisu." How could it be otherwise? "Don't you know I love you most? Why else would I marry you?" he whispered, yet his sweet words to another woman echoed clearly in the empty ward. My fiancé calling another woman wife in my presence? Tears burst forth instantly. Hanging up, Lucas saw me crying and rushed to wipe my tears. I slapped his hand away. "Get out. You're disgusting." Stunned briefly, Lucas lost patience. "Can't you stop being unreasonable? Can't you consider my position? We're all human, why can't you empathize with me? I promised you, once she's better, I'll divorce her and marry you. It's just a year or so, are you that impatient?" "Alright, honey, be good, I've something serious to discuss. My wedding with Lena was rushed, and I'd like to use your dress. Don't worry, your figures are similar, it won't get ruined." He looked at me earnestly, still calling me wife, though moments ago, he'd used the same term for another woman on the phone. Even more, he shamelessly requested the wedding dress I'd painstakingly sewn for myself to use in his marriage to another. My helpless sobs drew doctors and nurses, who, seeing me breathless, swiftly expelled Lucas. In the stillness of night, alone on the hospital bed, I reopened their marriage announcement video. This time, the pain dulled, and my tears seemed to have dried. Since this scoundrel cared nothing for my feelings, why should I grieve for him? Seeing his true nature before the license was a mercy from fate. Soon, it was the day of Lucas and Lena's wedding. Over these days, he repeatedly sought me out about borrowing the dress. I insisted it was for sale only, not loan. As a modestly renowned designer, it must be purchased at market value. 200,000, are you robbing me? Lucas exclaimed in sudden agitation. Lena's coy voice came through the phone. Honey, I love this one, the shop dresses are ugly and ill-fitting. Hesitating, Lucas conceded, fine, 200,000 then. Also, Lena hopes you'll attend our wedding. Understood, I'll go, I replied. I chuckled, hung up, determined to attend, not with blessings, however. Lucas proved generous for Lena. The ever-frugal man transferred 200,000 to my account that night. This dress, once my creation, now disgusted me. I'd never wear it again, but selling it to him salvaged my efforts. On the wedding day, I dressed meticulously and attended. The venue, car, and banquet were all planned with care by us previously. Yet, with the bride's name altered on the invitation, my extensive efforts effortlessly became another's gain. Spotting me, Lucas approached with delight. Chloe, I knew you'd come. Your presence today, I'll truly thank you. He grasped my hand, moved. I swiftly withdrew it, holding another woman's hand at your wedding. Aren't you afraid your wife will see? Go handle your duties. With a scoff, I turned and took an empty seat. All eyes were on the couple, none on me. The ceremony soon commenced. I'd thought days of mental preparation had fortified me, yet seeing my decade-long love walk the red carpet with another, beaming and blessed, still stung my nose with unshed tears. The host handed Lena the microphone. Most beautiful bride, any words to share? Lena took it shyly, her radiant look a stark contrast to her former despondency. Everyone's seen my wedding dress, right? She glanced my way, subtly or not. I've long wished to be Mr. Lucas's wife. This dress, designed and sewn by me over years, I finally get to wear standing beside him. My body jolted, eyes locked on Lena on stage. What? How dare she claim my dress as her own creation? This was my design from years ago, revised countless times, materials hand-picked, sewn stitch by stitch, now hers in her words. Really nice. I was captivated by the bride's dress earlier. It's the finest I've seen. Didn't expect Lena had such talent. I'll have her design my daughter's wedding dress. Amid the guests' praise, the host smiled, passing the microphone to Lucas. Did the groom know? Lucas glanced guiltily toward me, meeting my furious glare. He quickly averted his eyes, nodding with a smile. I've always known, it's all Lena's love for me. Thunderous applause erupted from the guests, who cheered, such a sweet couple. The mood's right, kiss. Lena gazed at Lucas shyly, he at her with deep affection. The moment was ripe, under all eyes. I rose, strode on stage in 8-centimeter heels, seized the host's microphone, took a deep breath, and declared, hello, as the groom's ex-girlfriend, I too offer blessings today, please watch the VCR. Instantly, my prepared video played on the big screen. Wearing a birthday hat, cream on his face, he knelt devoutly, offering me a ring. Today is my 28th birthday. I, Lucas, invite Miss Chloe to spend our lives together, never apart. Originally a gift capturing our happy moments, it now served as my potent counterstrike. Next came a recording I'd covertly made in the hospital of him on the phone, professing love to Lena, then turning to call me wife. Guests below watched the screen, whispers turning to boos. Ah, this must be Miss Chloe's jest, the host stammered, pale-faced, fumbling for a response. You've all seen, Lucas is this sort, publicly confessing to me with feigned devotion, while secretly marrying his old flame as a supposed saint. Where do I claim such dual bliss? I'd love it too, I said, smirking at them. You wretch. Why ruin my wedding? You know I'm ill, my dream was a home with him, why do this to me? Pale-faced Lena lunged to strike me. I firmly grasped her feeble wrist. Does illness justify stealing someone's partner? Or claiming another's design as your own? I sneered at the ill-fitting dress on her. If you made it, why's the waist so visibly strained? Lena, ashen, protested, I gained weight. Gained weight? Then why's the chest loose? What's this fabric? How many gems are sewn on, do you know? Buying my wedding dress was one thing, but flaunting another's labor publicly. I spoke with anguished fury. She looked terrified, speechless. Enough. Stop this. Pale Lucas suddenly intervened, shoving me, still weak from illness and in heels. I twisted my ankle, nearly falling. His eyes flickered as if to help me, then stopped. He pleaded, please, stop now, can't we discuss this later at home? The crowd below erupted. Many guests were our mutual friends and classmates. I didn't know what Lucas had told them, but their gazes toward him clearly shifted. Meanwhile, Lena's kin and friends below bristled. What's this mean, Lucas? Are you admitting it? I watched you grow up. You proposed to another. Why marry Lena? What do you take our family for? As a throng surged forward demanding answers, my goal was met, further entanglement pointless. I avoided Lucas's gaze, rubbed my ankle, and left the hall. I returned to the home we'd shared, years on. It brimmed with our memories and his imprint. Laughably, though married and settled with another, much of his stuff lingered here. I spent an afternoon clearing it out, confirmed his new address with a friend, and had movers send it all to him and Lena. Soon after the movers left, Lucas returned, hair disheveled, face scratched, still in his wrinkled wedding suit, suggesting a clash with no gain. He paused, then, seeing the emptied house, raged, Chloe, what's wrong with you today? Didn't we agree? I stepped back, distancing myself. Agree? On what? Ensuring your wedding went smoothly, or blessing your marriage? After the wedding fiasco and an afternoon of packing, my composure was eerily calm. Lucas's face darkened. He gripped my shoulders, pinning me to the wall. I've explained so much, don't you get it? I promised it's just a formality with her, to help her heal, then I'll return to you. You're my girlfriend. What girlfriend? Didn't we end the moment you got that certificate with her? I endured the wall's chill, sneering at him. Break up? Lucas froze, then shouted in disbelief and despair, impossible, breaking up isn't your call alone. I don't agree. His brazen words amused me. Don't be absurd. Legally, you're a married man. Morally, you've wed her publicly. Now you're here pestering me, planning to cheat. With disgust, I shoved him off. You admitted at my bedside you loved her, or you wouldn't have married her. Lucas, your heart's vast. Loving two women at once is quite a feat, I mocked. He stammered, at a loss for words. I strode to the door, opened it, and eyed him coldly. Enough. Pestering your ex on your wedding day, you may lack shame, but I don't. Lena loves you so, today's hiccup means little, right? Go tend to your dear wife. Seeing him dazed, irritation surged. I dragged him out, slamming the door with a bang, the air feeling fresher at last. I napped, waking to darkness, checking the time. It was early. I realized it wasn't night, but an impending storm, dark clouds massing, soon unleashing a torrent like soybeans pelting down. A stranger called, fearing it was a client. I answered, hello, is this Miss Chloe, owner of 1606? Your boyfriend's been hiding in the security booth, saying you won't let him in, he can't go home, please resolve your domestic issues yourselves. It was the gate guard. No wonder I'd faintly heard knocking while sleeping, too tired to respond. Rubbing my hair, I said, sorry, I'm single, no boyfriend. If you mean Mr. Lucas, he's married, I'll give you his wife's number. The guard, shocked, muttered oh twice. I hung up, wondering how the scoundrel dared persist so boldly. I didn't know if Lucas left, but for the next week, he incessantly called me. I blocked him, yet spotted him loitering at the community entrance while shopping. Foresighfully clad in sun gear and a mask, I slipped away. Many mutual friends called, some to console me, others lobbying for Lucas's forgiveness. I promptly blocked the latter. Adversity reveals true hearts. those urging forgiveness in this matter weren't worth keeping. I requested leave. My boss, sympathetic to my plight, approved consecutive days off. Staying home constantly wasn't viable, especially since this house overflowed with his memories. Even with his things gone, they lingered. I joined an Aurora tour, departing the next night. For half a month, my phone received no domestic calls, allowing me to fully immerse in travel's respite. Planning our honeymoon, I'd longed for him to join me to see the Aurora I'd yearned for years. Back then, he'd hugged me, envisioning countless beautiful photos to reminisce over his old grandparents, yet when I finally saw the Aurora, I stood alone. Still, this time away settled me, my mood lifted, and my weary, post-illness body fully recovered. However, just off a 10-plus-hour flight home, police and airport staff intercepted me. "Are you Miss Chloe?" a policeman asked, scrutinizing me, likely matching me to a system photo. Had I done something wrong? Showing my ID nervously, the police explained, "Good, you're safe. How could a young woman travel abroad alone without telling anyone? Do you know how worried your family was?" Family? I blinked. My parents divorced when I was young, later forming new families with new kids. My mother's even abroad. Why would they report me missing? Specifically, your boyfriend, Mr. Lucas, said he couldn't reach you for a month, found the house empty, and reported you missing in tears, a young officer clarified kindly, seeing my confusion. Him again? My mood plummeted. Why wouldn't he leave me be? My travel-relaxed state felt stifled once more. "Sorry for wasting your resources. I apologize for him. He's not my boyfriend, and this unnerves me. I'll go now." I rubbed my head, exasperated, dragging my suitcase to leave, but the police stopped me. "Please wait, we've notified Mr. Lucas. Stay until he arrives." My mood soured, but unwilling to clash with the police, I waited quietly. Minutes later, Lucas raced in, visibly anxious, hair wild, face flushed, panting hard. Seeing me, his eyes lit up. "Great, you're okay, you really scared me to death." He grabbed my hand tightly. "Chloe, next time you travel far, at least tell me, do you know how worried I've been?" His red eyes met mine. He'd slimmed down, looking weary with unshaven stubble. The police seemed touched by his apparent devotion. "Young lady, your boyfriend cares deeply. Don't worry people like this again." About to be cast as a reckless, immature girl, I snorted, yanking my hand free. I swiftly opened my phone, showing the police Lucas's Facebook-posted marriage certificate. "Check the system, he's married. A married man harassing me, using police reports to track me, threatens my safety." I lodged a stern complaint. The officer's face stiffened, incredulously rechecking the certificate against Lucas, brows furrowing instantly. "What's this nonsense? I warn you, this is illegal. Public resources aren't for perverted stalkers to misuse." Another young officer sprang to alertness, shielding me. "Miss Chloe, sorry, I'll escort you home. We'll take this man, he won't threaten you again." Ultimately, Lucas was taken for reprimand. I declined the officer's kind offer, taking a taxi home, assuming this ordeal would deter Lucas, at least for a while. Yet the next day, returning from work, I found Lucas inside, apron on, a feast of my favorite dishes prepared, rare, as I'd typically cooked even in our sweetest times. "You're back, rest well yesterday?" "Jet lag's tough," he greeted eagerly, reaching for my coat and bag. I ignored him, hanging them myself. He withdrew awkwardly, just in time. "Food's fresh, eat first." I didn't budge, frowning coldly. "How did you get in?" "Don't you know breaking in is illegal? Want me to call the police again?" Panic flashed in his eyes. Wiping his hands on the apron, he shook his head. Sorry, I know it's wrong. I tried your favorite star's birthday and got in. Forgive me this once, don't call the police." "Then leave my home, I'm busy, no time for strangers," I said, unsure if strangers struck a nerve. His body wavered briefly, he grabbed my wrist anxiously. "Sorry, I know my past actions were outrageous. Reflecting lately, Lena's scare overwhelmed me. I wronged you." Chloe, give me another chance, please. I'll soon clarify things with her and end this absurd marriage. Growing agitated, tears slid from his eyes. Once, I'd have hugged him in pity, forgiving all. Now, I couldn't gauge his sincerity. No need, I replied icily. I'll say it again, Lucas, I no longer love you, nor plan to marry you. Panicking, he closed in, hugging me tightly. Don't. Chloe, I love you, truly. These days showed me I can't live without you. You don't know how I've endured. His heart raced. Was it excitement or deceit? What of Lena? Didn't you say you loved her, to me, or was it Peter? Don't say you'd lie to friends too, I taunted. No. You don't understand. Lena had just left the hospital after cutting her wrists, sobbing she'd loved only me forever, that without me she'd lose hope and die. Her emotions swayed me, deceiving even myself briefly. He stared at me, tense and urgent, as if fearing disbelief, his grip hurt, unyielding to my push. Sighing, I said, let go, don't grope me. Okay, sorry, he reacted, apologizing hastily, releasing me. He opened his mouth to speak, but his phone rang. Irritably, he answered, hello, I'm busy, don't. Suddenly, his face froze, eyes trembling. I know. I'm going now. He hung up flustered, glancing at me silently. I'd guessed who it was. I shook my head. Go, she's your wife. Then, I'll be back soon, wait for me. His lips quivered, then he bolted out. Watching him vanish, I sighed. Indeed, he'd never firmly choose me, ever. I ate alone that day. Food shouldn't be wasted, and since we hadn't formally split, this was a breakup meal. Henceforth, I, Chloe, and Lucas were done. Yet after that day, Lucas vanished, not seeking me. For a full week, he went silent, no daily calls or texts, absent from my life. Until Peter, our mutual friend, called. Did something happen to Lena? I intuited. Peter paused, then hummed. Actually, her past suicide attempts weren't lethal, but somehow, after marrying Lucas, her condition worsened. Lucas hunted you like a madman, neglecting food and drink, agitating Lena into madness too. That day he sought you again. Lena, unable to reach him, leapt from the roof in despair, gone soon after reaching the hospital. I listened quietly. Lucas's reckless immaturity harmed me, himself, and most tragically, the ailing Lena. Peter continued softly, the memorial's this afternoon, I hope you'll see Lucas. I'm furious at him too, but he looks near death, I'm worried, please come. Recalling Peter's past rebuke of Lucas, I felt grateful for his support. I couldn't refuse now. Okay, don't worry, send the location, I'll go this afternoon. I arrived late deliberately, suspecting Lena's family wouldn't want me there, though I resented her actions. With her gone, there was no need for conflict at her memorial. Entering, only Lucas remained, staring at Lena's portrait, rigid as a statue, lost in thought. I tapped his shoulder gently. Are you okay? She's gone, likely wouldn't want you grieving endlessly. Whether my words or touch, he shuddered violently, turning abruptly, staring at me in shock, eyes swollen from tears. Seconds later, trembling, he hugged me tightly. Great. Chloe, you haven't given up on me, right? I still have you. His corpse-like state stirred slight pity in me, though I'd feel the same for anyone so broken. No, I came only at Peter's word to offer condolences, hoping you'll soon recover and start anew. But you came from worry for me. Panic and confusion filled his eyes. I'd come for any friend. I shook my head, prying his arms off, stepping back. Your wife's portrait is here, please don't. Mentioning Lena's portrait, his face crumbled, he clutched his head. No. How did this happen? I meant to save her, now I've killed her and lost Chloe too. Seeing him sob, I said, had you been resolute from the start, not wavering between us, and clarified with Lena, she mightn't have taken such an extreme path. I gazed at him helplessly. Your irresponsibility and wishful thinking killed her. You considered only yourself, never empathizing with us. Enough, from now, we're strangers, memories hurt us both. I hope you'll reflect, become better, and not betray others again. Having said my piece, I turned and left without looking back. No. Chloe. Don't go, please. Over 10 meters away, his faint, anguished cries reached me, but neither of us could return.